Hey YouTube, welcome to the Fantasy Workshop, home of stop motion creatures, bubble helmets, rockets, and ray guns. I'm going to do something that I don't usually get an opportunity to do very often, which is an unboxing video. So I'm going to take this chance to do one, and I'd like to thank in advance Marty C for continuing to send really cool stuff from the studio Amazon tools and supplies list. So thank you, Marty. Now, before I get started, I actually want to point out one of the cool things that Marty sent previously. This was like a square cutting tool for cutting like perfect squares out of things. And the reason I had this on my list was so that I could do this. Basically, it lets me take materials, put them into my chopper or whatever, get these like perfect. I can make square pieces very quickly and easily. But what gets difficult is then turning those into some kind of like interesting shape that isn't just a square. And this makes it very fast and easy to do that. So, basically I can just kind of slip something in, get it, right there at the corner, boom. So then that gives me a shape, and then I can kind of pop it again, this way, maybe go a little more shallow, and then I've got another shape, and then I can kind of pop it in again, and maybe I go really far and do that. And so now I have an interesting piece that can easily be used as a panel piece, which, like on something like this, it gives me nice, quick and easy, irregularly shaped, panels on, ship modeling. And these kind of panels are actually kind of difficult to cut otherwise, without, accidentally going too far and cutting into the plastic. And with this thing, it's just a breeze. Anyway, that's enough of the old stuff. I've got a whole brand new box of stuff here to open, also from Marty. So let's get into that. So let's open this puppy up. I have no idea what was sent. I don't have my account set up to, not spoil surprises or whatever on this particular list. But I couldn't really tell by just looking at it what disappeared. So this is going to be interesting. All right, so let's check it out. Oh man, okay, so you would not believe how important these stupid things are. I know they do. Oh, the paper cups. Yeah, no, but you cannot buy these in grocery stores. They are like impossible to find. What you find in grocery stores are little plastic cups. The problem with that is that when you're mixing thick chemicals, the plastic cups turn into like almost a stiff cellophane in your hands. They just crush and crumble, and they can't hold up to the heavy mixing of especially the thick rubbers that, if you're like doing silicone, that stuff tends to thicken up really, really hard, and it's difficult to mix. And I'm always seeing in, training videos and tutorials and things, they'll just pull out the, the two-part silicone mix and put it in there, and they'll just, be mixing it up. And I've got it in my little plastic cup, and I start mixing it, and it's like literally just starts twisting and contorting, and I can't even get it. And anyway, by the time I'm done, my hands are like aching and in pain, and it's awful. So I started looking up, oh, you know what? Okay, so there are some paper cups that I found in grocery stores. They're meant for coffee. They're like coffee cups. They come with lids. It's like a whole thing, and they're not cheap. They're stupid, expensive, and ridiculous. So I was like, okay, I've got to be able to find, those stiff paper cups that, that I'm always seeing in the videos on Amazon. And sure enough, I thought I'd try these out, and sure enough, I mean, this, I can already feel right now how, yeah, this is a really like stiff cup. This is not going anywhere. So this is going to be like amazing for mixing. So that's awesome. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so I have gone through a few different airbrush choices in trying to figure out what kind of airbrush is the right one for me. And at first I had some dual action, fancy gravity feed stuff that I found that unless you get a really expensive one, they kind of suck, and they're really hard to clean. This one, this is a Pache, and it's not gravity feed. It's side. That's a siphon feed. It siphons up, so it's not quite as sensitive, but it is a dual action, and it's pretty neat. You know, whatever. But the thing about this is that when you go to clean it, you've got to take the entire thing apart. And if you're going to be running, you know, weird stuff through it, thick stuff, or really cheap paint, which I use a lot of really cheap paint because I'm painting. I'm not doing, you know, two-dimensional paintings. I'm painting really, you know, I'm doing this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not gonna waste, you know, really nice paint on, you know, painting a jungle scene or painting a big piece of foam or something. I mean, I just need paint that I can, you know, blow through here, and I need a lot of it. And so I use really cheap Walmart paint. The secret, by the way, to that, and my friend Mike Oliver actually clued me in on this, and he keeps forgetting he told me, so every time I talk about it, he tells me again, but that's okay. The secret to running really crappy cheap paint through an airbrush is to use really good reducer. So you put crappier, you know, paint, like, you know, cheap 50-cent Walmart paint into your cup, but you're gonna mix instead of water or some horrible Windex mixture that YouTube will tell you no. Be careful about all these like painters on YouTube who have like weird advice for free reducer. Just get like Createx reducer, really nice reducer, good stuff. Put it in there, and actually you probably won't have any problems as long as you really mix it fairly loose. You know, if you keep it fairly you know, watery. If it gets too thick, you still might have some problems. But that stuff works wonders. Anyway, what I find is that using that kind of stuff with a really nice airbrush, or even just any dual action airbrush, is it's just a lot more work. You're constantly taking it apart and putting it back together because that stuff gunks it up. It you know what? And the other thing is, when you're painting with acrylics, you're not mixing it with solvents, and you know, so it's a completely different kind of paint. A solvent-based paint breaks down much easier. You know, you put the solvent in, it breaks down, it comes out. These things clean up a lot easier with a solvent-based paint. So when you're using really crappy paints, I don't really recommend a dual action. What I finally found was just get the Pache H. Like, it's the workhorse. You know, it's external mix, and all you have to do is like take this thing apart, and this comes off, and you can clean it. And there's nothing on the inside that's getting gunked up with paint at all. It's all right here. It gets mixed right here at the tip. So yeah, I love these things. But like the thing comes with this like cheesy plastic. I mean, if I dropped this, like, it would just shatter, you know. And I saw this, and I'm like, oh, now that's cool. now that I want. And so I put it on my list, and this is made of aluminum, I believe. It's metal. I believe it's aluminum. I'm pretty sure that if I were to put this on the dual action, then that little gap in there would make more sense, because yeah, there you go. So I could put it on my dual action, but I just don't use my dual action that much. But I could, and then I can actually get to this and pull this out. Grab the needle in there in this gap, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's there anyway. This thing really is just there to balance on your hand, but this is just this plastic. What? Anyway, this is cool. This is really cool. This is that, you know, let's throw a little Hot Rod Red moment on the Iron Man costume is what this is. So that's pretty sweet. Also, it would be nice that if I do happen to bang this or drop it, I don't shatter the back of it, because I've actually shattered the metal in a different airbrush. It was a Iwata Neo. It wasn't a good Iwata, it was just a Neo. But that was back when I had concrete floors, and I don't have that issue anymore. Anyway, that's amazing. I may go ahead and just put that on the dual action at some point because it would be nice to be able to grab the needle, which you can't at all right now on the dual action. But anyway, it's pretty awesome. Okay, what else do we? Oh man, this is like full of cool stuff. Okay, this is a scale lumber gauge. This is a ruler that has all these different scales on it. So if you're doing scale modeling, you've got like 1/16 scale equals 1 foot. I'm sorry, 1/16 inch equals 1 foot. 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. 3/4 inch equals 1 foot. These are in gauge, HO gauge, O gauge. These are different gauges, popular gauges. So if you buy miniatures in like a hobby shop, things are sold in what they call in gauge, HO gauge, O gauge. These are just different scales, and here I've got an actual measurement for all of these scales, so I can see like 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 24 feet or whatever. It's just a perfect. I can just sit it down and immediately know how many feet across a miniature is based on this scale. So this is just amazing. Talk about like kind of spoiling you when you're trying to make mini models and miniatures, and you're trying to do all that math in your head and trying to figure out, wait, how big is 1 foot? I need a 3 foot wall here, but what's 3 foot? Oh, it's 256 thousandths of an inch. No, yeah. And then this is awesome. I remember putting this. Okay, so this I have my schedule that I keep, and it's not, when I print it, it's from Excel sheet, and it's not vertical, it's horizontal. It's landscape, it's not portrait, and so it's a real pain to like hang up on the wall, or I put it on something and then kind of it's like folds over. It's not really, I don't have anything that holds it, so I was like, and I can't. Okay, I cannot find landscape oriented clipboard in any kind of store. I have looked in every office store like all over town. I've never found one, and I was like, they have to exist, they have to. And sure enough, they barely exist even on Amazon. I don't know if I even found more than one model, but I found this and I put it on the list, and here it is. So now I finally have a clipboard for my schedule, because like they didn't seem to make one other than ordering it on Amazon. So this is amazing. This will let me hang my schedule up on the wall and always keep track of it and not have it sideways. So I don't have to keep figuring out how to have to turn my head to read it. It was so annoying. And I can just like keep it all together, because it's actually several pages, and I wanted to be able to keep it nice and together and hang it up so that I can see it. So this is awesome. Anyway, that is it. This was an amazing haul of really cool stuff. I'm going to be using these paper cups, I know, very soon. I'm going to break out this ruler and be using it immediately, because I'm actually working on a big miniature right now, and that's one of the things I've been doing that's been a real headache, is I just have to find some kind of gauge or something, and go, okay, this is 6 feet, and then just move that around. But there's really no way to come up with a new measurement for a new size easily. I have to then go to the calculator and play with it for a while and come back. With this, I can just measure stuff out, boom, based on scale. So thank you, Marty. This stuff was awesome. It's like Christmas today. And this is really inspiring me to do some work today in the studio. But I'm also doing some work in Unity today, because I'm doing a lot of little projects to just kind of familiarize myself with Unity, so that every time I go to do something new, I don't feel so much like a fish out of water. And it's been actually really ramping up and feeling good lately. So I just can't resist now, though. I have to get back into the studio today and play with the new toys. if you like models, modeling, stop motion, science fiction, anything like that, really, please, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and stick around for more. Thanks.